welcome to the video. So in this video we will be focusing on prompt engineering. So the keyword for this video is prompt engineering. What is prompt engineering? Let me show you a small demo first. So I have asked this to create a logo. So I didn't give any specific instructions, but it started doing the things. So now what happening here is I haven't given any context, or I haven't explained anything to it, how I wanted my logo, what is the company name or anything, but it started developing an image. So it was using my past discussions and whatever we have discussed in the past, and depending on that it is building a logo. But it's not what I exactly want. So what happens here is I have asked it a lame question, that is create a logo. It doesn't have any head or body, it just has a context, so it generates whatever it understands. But I don't want this. I wanted a logo for a hospital or a school, but I haven't given any context to it, so it started doing it. So here my tokens got wasted, so I'll just create another prompt here saying that create a new image. So what happens here is it again starts from the top. It sees that what has happened so far, why it is failing. So again it goes and it makes the iteration everything from the start, where again your tokens are utilized. Tokens are not only what you are sending, tokens are also considered what the model is also doing. So your token completely comprises of what input you are giving, what output you are getting, and what's getting processed in that output, what the model is understanding. So depending on all this, your token consumption is working. So let me show you another prompt. So here what I did is I gave it a context for what I wanted. I gave it an instructions how I want it, and I also gave it how my logo should be, what is the theme. So all this is comprising of prompt engineering. So now you see it has created a logo for Beyond Work, and it has created for office, because so that it looks like an office, because I have already asked here to have some good office designs made on this. So this is how you can work with your prompt. So when we are coming to prompt engineering, which is nothing but good prompts gives good results and better prompts gets amazing results. So there are two different things. What the people in general understand by smaller prompt means, they think that the prompt should be smaller, like concise one or compressed one, but it's not exact how it should be. It should be something else. Like you should be explaining everything in a single go instead of having multiple discussions. So here prompt engineering is the process of designing clear, specific and effective instructions to help AI models understand context, intent and deliver accurate, relevant and high quality responses. So if at all you see the anatomy, you need to give a role, you need to give the context, you need to explain the task clearly, you need to have the constraints or limitations, you need to have a format, and you need to give the tone. So if at all you see the prompt that I have given a context to it, I have given constraints, that is it should be office model, and I have also given a format to it, that is it should be with white background, and it should be elegant, and it should be following all the rules that I have given. And if at all you are writing any specific mail, or you are working with any specific things, like if you are writing a blog, then you can set a tone for your blog, whether it should be a friendly or professional, or was it a serious manner that you wanted to discuss in that specific blog, and what kind of format you wanted. It can be PDF file, it can be any format, it can be JSON format, and constraints. So you can say that, okay, I need a paragraph which tells about AI, but it should be under 300 characters or 2000 characters. Or you give a PDF and then you tell it to analyze the PDF and get the data out of it, but it should be a concise of one paragraph or specific characters, that is 1000 characters or 2000 characters. And you clearly specify the task. That is, first you need to read it, second you need to understand it, third you need to give the output. The context, why we are using it. So you explain it that, okay, you have n number of data, and to analyze it you are going to use this format, and you will assign a role. So you will assign a role saying that the model is a senior UI designer or a graphic designer or anything, so that the model understands it clearly and then it processes it. So you don't need to have a multiple communications between you and the model. So the core principles are, as I said, be clear and specific, provide the context, define the format, guide the reasoning, and iterate and refine. Iterate and refine is, you need to keep on working on your prompt till you get a proper output. So if you get a proper output, then you will keep that prompt as a template or as a reference. So for future prompts and all, you will be following the same steps. So next is best practices. Same, as I said, start simple and then keep on adding the details. Test with different variations, you will get the different outputs. You can go and finalize with one specific output. You need to evaluate your results. You need to refine and improve your prompts. You need to avoid sharing sensitive or personal data. You need to see what AI limitations are, and it should be under ethical values. And it should not be disrespecting anyone, or it should not be crossing any specific lines where it harms others. Next is your common prompting techniques. So prompting techniques, you have zero shot, one shot, few shot, chain of thoughts, self-consistency. So what are these? I will be covering in a different session or a different video. But for now, the keywords you need to take up from this video is zero shot, one shot, few shot, chain of thought, self-consistency. And you have some frameworks designed for having a good prompting. That is, some of the examples are shown here. That is RTF, CoStar, Tag, Piece. What are all these frameworks? Again, I will be having a separate video done on these frameworks only. So as I said, remember, garbage in, garbage out. That is, if you give a great prompt, you will get a great output. So whatever you are giving it as an input, you will be getting the output in the same manner. So if your prompt is weak, you won't get anything. If your prompt is strong, you will get every answer properly. If you take an example here, you see you are a technology expert. I have given a role. Explain the key concepts of artificial intelligence. That is a concept. In simple terms for a beginner. That is the task. Include real world examples. That is the constraints. Format the output in bullet points. That is the format. Tone is, again, it depends on you. It's not a mandatory one. You can keep it professional, or you can keep it concise, or you can have it as a friendly also. So this popular frameworks, RTF is nothing but role task format. So with the combination of this, you create a frameworks. That is, depending on your requirement, you follow these kind of frameworks to have a prompts designed. So this is, first you assign a role, then you give a task, then you tell the format. CoStar is nothing but, first you go with context, then you go with objective, then you have style, then you define the tone, then you tell what kind of audience are going to handle with this data, and then what would be the response looking like. Next is tag, that is task, action and goal. Focuses on the action and expected outcome. And next is piece, purpose, examples, action, context, expectations. That is, first you give a purpose and you share some examples and you tell what actions to be taken, what is the context, and what the output is, or what you are expecting the output should be. So all these covers a prompt engineering. So if you learn all these things, you'll be able to easily design any specific prompts for your application. So it's not only for using with ChatGPT or Gemini. Even if you are going to build any generative AI applications, you need to have a good knowledge of prompt engineering. How you can do it and what way you can use which technique or which frameworks. How you can design a specific prompt so that it gives exact results and it follows the rules or the specific business, everything. So there are some things called security, and then you have this how to implementation, security, and then defense. Everything will be covered in their individual videos. So just to recap, the keywords that you need to remember in this is prompt engineering, zero shot, one shot, few shot, chain of thought, self-consistency, and popular frameworks. So the frameworks are RTF, CoStar, TAG, or PEACE. These are basic frameworks used by many people. There are somewhere around 20 frameworks, out of which 10 are popular frameworks used by everyone, depending on the requirements. So these are the keywords, and the topics you need to remember is role, context, task, constraints, format, and tone. So you start implementing the same with day-to-day tasks or day-to-day requirement. Whenever you are interacting with any AI model, you start implementing these things. So you firstly assign a role to your model, you give a context, you assign a task, and then you tell what is the constraints, what you wanted, what should be done, what could not be done, and then you give the output format on which you wanted it, whether you wanted it in a JSON format or you wanted it in Excel or CSV or PPT, and then you set the tone, whether you wanted the content to be in a professional manner or a friendly manner, or you want it to be in a concise bullet points, so how it should sound, whether you are discussing this topic or you are having any general knowledge topics, depending on that your tone changes. Tone is nothing but how you are presenting the content of how the output content is presented. So all these are basics of prompt engineering. So let's catch up in the next video. Until then, bye.